What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to SteveBussaGS. We got another scorecard interview for y'all. I am being joined by the one, the only, Phillip Mweemba. What's going on, my guy? How you feeling?
Like I'm it's, bruh. Like it's not, like watching your videos, and I'm like watching your interviews and like your reactions on how you start, and then now being a part of it. Like it's yes.
I appreciate you taking the time to kick it with me today, my guy. It means a lot to me that you would go and put the time aside. I'm a fan of your music. I'm a fan of the trajectory that I perceive your career to be taken, and I feel like I'm getting in early on a hidden gem. And so like this means a lot to me that you would take the time to go and chop this up and stuff like that, my guy. What I want to do is for the audience who is watching, who may or may not be familiar with you, be familiar with why I'm so excited to be chopping it up with you. Can you give them just a short bio? Who are you? Why are you here? What is your relationship with the GSGang?
Well, my name is Phillip Mweemba. I'm 24 years old. I was born here in Lusaka, but I've lived, outside of Africa, outside of Zambia. Lived all this, like I lived in Nigeria. That's where I spent most of my time in. That's where I discovered music. That's where I discovered hip hop. My love for hip hop. While I was over there to that side, my genres are, I do everything, but like my main focus is just more hard nosed, straight flows. The most lyrical, miracle, spiritual, individual, subliminal, criminal, that type of stuff. Not as corny as it may sound.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear somebody say that that's their goal. My goal is to deliver this, instead of somebody claiming that they're not that, and then that's all that they give us.
But yeah, like I to deliver that not in like the most corny way you might know it to be. Like the more like, okay, yeah, this is actual like real. This is something real. That type of thing. But I rap on anything. I rapped on boom bap beats. I rapped on trap beats. I've even rapped on more like Afrocentric stuff, But I rap on anything. But like I always tell myself, in anything that I do, whatever song, I'm gonna still deliver that lyricism you would expect from like a battle rap or a rapper from the '90s, Because that's like my
talk about it. So are you into battle rap? Because that's a big topic on this channel.
I love battle rap. Like I have been watching battle rap since I was like 15. I can list like maybe my top five favorite battlers. Disaster, Loaded Lux, who else I can name? T-Top, Rum Nitty, Dumbfounded. Who else? Conceded is hilarious. Who else? Real Deal.
You tapped in. You got some safe picks there. You got who's your wild card? Who's someone that you fuck with that people wouldn't expect you to be a fan of?
Someone that we don't expect you to be a fan of.
Yeah, like who's an underdog you fuck with that wouldn't necessarily be on the Rushmore?
Right.
Okay, I can see you. Look, man, I can see you post a lot of Eminem love. I can see you being a Frack fan.
I'm a fan of. Like I think it's safe to say that battle with Disaster, the more recent one, the Grand Prix one, I think it's safe to say that Frack is one of the only battle rappers that has actually bodied Disaster.
Are you talking about the joint where he started pulling out the receipts and then he ripped it up and then he pulled out another one?
Like, what did he say? What was that line again? He was like, I printed a graph. I brought another because I know this will rip it in half. I was like, yes. And then like you didn't tell that dude was like, okay, yeah. He didn't push him
I think allegedly he had a third one on him too, just in case. Yeah, I seen him talk about it on Twitter. That's dope though. So you have a sound that's being pulled from a lot of directions then, right? So like if I'm a fan and I'd have never heard a Phil Wemba trap in my life. What can I expect to hear putting on a brand new project from you? What can I expect to take to walk away from that?
I think what to expect is not knowing what to expect. Because even me personally, or like when I'm thinking about a song to do, it's not gonna be the same as my last one. That's one thing. That's one thing I can tell you. Because I don't do I've always told myself I can't make the same song twice. It's like the next song, even if it's a boom bap song, it's not gonna be the same as the last one. There's always something different, and that's why I feel like it might confuse listeners, because like imagine listening to a project of mine and then hearing me on like a trap song, and then like, okay, yeah, this is fine, and then like they go to the next track and they're like, we're doing boom bap now, and then the next track, wait, we're doing R&B now, wait, and then the next track, wait, we're doing trap again. You know, like you don't know what to expect, and even me, I don't know what to expect for myself, because like I'm on an Afro-centric song, like a more like housey type of thing, and that was just me receiving a random beat from one of my producers, and it was like, yo, here's a beat. I'm like, bro, this
whatever comes out comes out.
Like I was even like, dude, this is more house. Like, yeah, like, okay, boom, I made a song.
So let me ask you this then. I want to start peeling back the layers here, right? Why do you make music? Because that sounds like you're doing a little bit of everything. Is it not a passion for hip hop? Is it a passion for creativity then? Like, what is the driving factor? If you're all over the place with your sounds, why do you make music?
Why do I make music? Well, like to put it like this, like when I was growing up, I didn't really have like a good mode of expression.
Okay.
Like when I was younger, before I discovered hip hop, mode of expression was just drawing, like paint, like art stuff, like painting, drawing, all that stuff. That was my mode of expression. But it came to a point where I realized that, okay, like all of this is not like really external. I'm not like really expressing myself like externally. Like it's more like it was more internal, like I'm in my own head. I'm just like drawing for myself. But when I discovered rapping, when I discovered hip hop, I was like, okay, yes, because I'm like speaking, but like with rhyme. I'm being expressive. Like you can see the actions that I'm doing, as I'm rapping. You can feel what I'm saying. You can hear what I'm saying. That was when I was like, okay, yes, I'm gonna stick to this, because if I'm feeling a certain way, I can just like rap about it, and I would feel better. That was me, like that was like me when I was like when the roots of hip hop were planted in my head, you
Right.
know. Now, okay, yeah, this is really good for me, I can really express myself with this, and as I got older, learning how to rap and learning different styles and different ways to rap and different rhyme schemes, because I didn't know about like internal rhyming until I was like 15. I didn't know how to do that. Before that, it was just more basic stuff. Like
So
rhyming one.
is there more of an emphasis on the skill and technique for you then? Because like there are people who, like you're talking about, like, man, I didn't get into the like internal rhymes and stuff like that until later. Like a lot of times with artists that I talk to, it's not about what's going into the craft like that necessarily. It's about the message. It's about the form of expression, like you were talking about. So what's more important to you? The fact that you're getting a certain emotion across during a song, or is it like, I'm gonna do this in the most skilled way possible when I get this across?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like it's both. Like if that's my answer. Like it's both, because I always tell myself it doesn't matter what I'm like. I can like, yes, I'm gonna have a message. Like I'm gonna deliver an emotion. I'm gonna like convey an idea. I'm gonna tell a story, but I'm gonna also do it in a very skilled way. And I've always been intrigued when rappers do that. Like someone I've always looked up to. Like I've always looked up to Eminem. Like he can tell a story, right? But he's not like, he's like, okay, like people know him as like a rhymer's rhymer. Like he stacks syllables on top of syllables, yeah.
Right.
But he tells a good story, like a song like Lose Yourself, a song that everyone knows. He's talking about like when he starts like that verse, he's talking about like the character he's portraying in the movie 8 Mile. You know, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on the sweater already, mom's spaghetti. He's literally telling a story, not just rhyming. He's telling a good story, you know. And that's something I've always I've always tried to like replicate, you know, because telling a story is easy, but I also want to show that like, wow, like he's telling a story, but then like he's stacking so many rhymes and it makes sense, you know. So I would say that it's just like it's they're both equally as important to me, you know.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Let me ask you this. So this is going to be interesting too, because this is a good hip hop conversation that ends up coming up specifically with artists, but not exclusively. I talk to a lot of fans about stuff like this. Since that's the type of music that you make and what you look for and what you look to create and stuff like that, does it become harder for you to enjoy listening to music that may not be written to that level of technicality? Like, do you find yourself hearing a song that's more message driven than like syllabic rhyme schemes and shit like that driven? Do you look at that like, that was cool, but it would have been better if he put more into it? Like, do you find yourself critiquing shit, or are you able to separate what you want to create versus what you listen to?
I feel like I can separate what I create versus what I listen to, because I always say, because I'm influenced by everything, you know. Like I can people like to think that people like to think that um I hate mumble rap. I hate all these mumble rappers, all that stuff. I used to be like that, you know, but then I became more open-minded. I like, wait, why did I used to do that? Because if a song is good, it's good. If it's catchy, it's catchy. You know, if it's memorable, it's memorable. You know, I'm not always gonna be like, oh, this is so unskilled, you know, but like at the same time, if a song isn't like that, like as skilled, I would expect it to be like at least have a quality about it that like makes people, oh, that was a fun listen. But if it's not, then I'm just gonna like, you know, like discard it and move on to the next whatever I hear, because I listen to everything, you know. So
How did you make that change? There are a lot of people that what you just mentioned specifically, there are a lot of people that got stuck on that I hate mumble rap wave type things. Even if they themselves might have caught themselves feeling something at one time or another, that they, you know what I'm saying? But like it was cooler, I guess, to hate on something because it required a different skill set that they considered to be a lesser skill set to make that music. What was it for you that allowed you to get rid of that? Since that was your view at one point, what was the turning point for you to just be like, no, I can enjoy some shit that's made like this?
well, when I it was when I was I think I was like 19. I think I was like 19, yeah. Because I was like, I hate I like I always like felt annoyed seeing my contemporaries, you know, not have like something like a unique quality about them. They're just doing everything else that everyone else is doing. But like I became more open-minded when I realized that um like JT once said that every song is a success, you know. And there's actually a lot that goes into just like making a song, you know, like there's recording, there's mixing, there's all that. There's like a process, you know, and everyone goes through that. Even if you're not making a song that's like has anything, you know, has a quality, has like a message behind it, or has any intricacies in it, you know, there's a lot that goes into making music. So yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, these guys make songs. I guess that's their mode of expression. Even if they just want to like have fun, you know, that's how they like to express themselves. You know, I have my own way of expressing myself. Maybe that could be their way. That's what made me more open minded to be like, okay, yeah, maybe I was a little bit too harsh. And then also
That's a good
another thing I can
philosophy. Hold on, that's a dope philosophy too. The whole like it's just kind of like enjoying the journey. You know what I'm saying? Not just the result, but just like respecting the process. Like these people were still able to go through all the steps that it takes to make a song, and like
yeah.
that's worth something in and of itself. I respect that. That's a dope perspective.
Yeah, but then also like to put it in another like scope, a lot of these so-called mumble rappers, they don't really last very long. They don't last like there's like it's like they have like a meter, you know, that like runs out. And if I from what I've noticed, you know, I've always like wait, this guy was popping in 2017. What happened? Like what has happened to them in 2022? Like it's been 5 years. What happened to them? They're like fizzled out. You know, they have like an expiry date basically to
Right.
their like careers or how they move. You know, because like even J. Cole spoke about like my contemporaries just making just like not doing music for it for them, not doing music for any like any any good purpose, just for like for themselves, so they have fun and make money and all that stuff. And then Cole actually, I don't you've probably heard this song 1985 from like previous project where he literally spoke about Lil Pump and how he literally predicted his his decline,
Right.
by saying that them kids that be listening and grow up and get too old for the shit that made you blow up. Now your show's looking like because they don't show up, which also means the money make you stop. So you're struggling, so you're scrambling and you're struggling to get hard again. But you forgot you only pack because you was writing trends and you old news and you going to regrets. Yeah, all that. Like because
So are you against that?
I'm not against it because it's true. It is true. Like
I mean,
one day,
do you look down on this? This is going to tie into other conversations that we have had about projecting the things that we think are valuable in other people. But let me ask you, you as an individual, you as a man, you as an artist, right? Do you resent the artist that pops off on TikTok for hopping on a recent trend versus you or not take yourself out of it, you know what I'm saying? But the cat that's like honing in on an original style that hasn't been picked up by the radio yet because the sound hasn't caught up to it yet. Like do you harbor any resentment for those that hop on the wave and are able to find success?
I don't really resent it because I actually also kind of feel bad for it because like like every generation needs entertainment, and I feel like these people who cop on trends on TikTok, it's like, and then they make a song that pops off on TikTok. I feel like it's bubblegum, and everyone knows that you don't like bubblegum tastes really good, but you don't actually swallow it. You spit it out. You find the next bubblegum, you chew it, tastes really good. You spit it out, move on to the next one. I feel like that's how most of modern music is, and I always believe that. Sorry about my dogs. I don't know if you can hear that. Is it picking?
We can hear it, but I love puppies, so fuck them. If they got a problem with it, they can fight me.
But yeah, I always believe that what like XXXTentacion said this once, that, and I believe it. Like what is real will prosper. If you make real music, like if you're not real music, but if you make good music, that like is that has an impact on people. That's gonna last forever. That's what
if your bubblegum song gets 64 million views in a weekend when it comes out, is that not having an impact on people?
No, like having an impact, like not like not like like having an impact as an individual. Like this song really like it really hit me. Like
So
not
here's my question. I get what you're saying. Like there's music where you're gonna listen to a J. Cole line and it's gonna resonate with you and it's gonna make you think about some shit and it may change your opinion on something. That's what you're considering real music to be like it's having an impact on that person,
I
right?
believe real music or good music has like it. I believe it causes an emotional reaction, like to
Cool.
you.
But isn't happiness an emotion? So if I hear the little ass shaky TikTok song on my phone every time insert chick number 375 with neck tattoo pops up on my For You page, and that makes me happy for the 20 seconds that is playing, is that not having an emotional impact?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right though. But then at the same time, is it gonna last? Are you gonna like go
No.
back 5 years from now and listen to that same song? I mean, like
So longevity is tied into
yeah,
what you
exactly.
consider
Like
to be good or real music.
exactly. That's what I wanted to say because like
I'll give you
how
that.
many people are listening to Gucci Gang today?
I feel you. I feel you. No, that's a great point. I think that
Yeah.
there's definitely more of an in the moment. It's an in the
Mm-hmm.
moment thing,
That's
and
that's
it
that's
it even creates this thing too. Because I'm at the age now where I can play stuff when I was growing up that like young bulls will look at me crazy for, and I gotta hit them with the "you wasn't outside when this was," you know what I'm saying? Like you had to be outside when this was hot. You know what I'm saying? Like Okay, so you're saying that your preference of music or what you would consider good music is music that is timeless,
Yeah, exactly.
creating a timeless record.
Yeah,
I fuck with.
because like think of it now. It's been what almost. It's been what 28 years since Illmatic. Like 28 years. Like Andy Mez was born during that time, and he's when we're just having a conversation with him, and
Right,
like between that time frame, people still speak about Illmatic.
right.
And Nas has dropped what KOD 3, and
Mhm.
we're still talking about Illmatic from almost
True.
30 years ago.
This is
Because it,
facts.
yeah, and like that's what I always like. I always like to consider like um. But then now in like modern like to put it like in the modern day like scope, what album in the last 5 years are we still talking about? Only like a few, I would say, just a few. In the past five,
Depends who you talk to.
yeah, yeah, depends on who you're talking to, but like in the like universally, because like that's why they say like this album is universally acclaimed, like
So let
who.
me ask you this. Here's the issue with what you're talking about, right? This is the issue that I see. Is
Mm,
how are you then going to respond as an artist, as a creator, when someone listens to your catalog and it goes, "You have good music. I don't know that I would consider any of this timeless, though." How do you react to that?
well, art is subjective, you know. It is subjective because like a song of mine may not impact you in the way that another person does, even though like there's an intention behind it. Like my intention of like making a song where I'm talking about my deepest, darkest regrets or depression is with the intention of like um making someone who's also had some deepest, darkest regrets or depression like connect with it. That because that's what I value. Like if someone to me, I always say if someone hits me up and tells me, Philip, this song saved my life, I'll be like, I made it. You know,
And
to
it would only take one person to do that to where you would feel like that song was a success.
me that's success. But
Cool.
then to put it in a way that's like having like 1,000 people, having 10,000 people give me that same response,
Right.
that'll be amazing. And that's also part of what I strive for.
Do you
You know,
think that there's something problematic about in the same conversation you using a defense of what albums are we still talking about, 5 years from now, 5 years ago, when two
I,
seconds ago you're talking about you would consider yourself a success if only one person ever told you that they like, do you see the
I,
contradiction between the two?
I, I didn't mean like in the condescending sense of like what
Not, not,
albums are
not,
we?
not condescending, but just like as far as impact goes, because
Yeah.
you could still have the impact of that one person. Does that invalidate it if we're not talking about it in 5 years?
Well, like I said, like a song can have an intention, behind it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or like a whole album because someone like Kendrick can make a whole concept album about like because his recent output is like it's basically an, a very candid therapy session. That's how I feel about that project, and a lot of people can feel that way because like even with like back in like 2021, Drake dropped If You Really Miss Is Too Late, which is to me one of my favorite Drake albums because like he was focused on that project. And like you can even ask a lot of people like what's Drake's best album? They would say if they would either say If You're Reading This or Take Care, or even no, or people would even say Nothing Was the Same. But for me personally, yeah, I'd say If You're Reading This because that was when Drake was refocused and he was making like he was inspired. And the thing about Drake that I've noticed now is most of the time he doesn't sound inspired anymore. He doesn't sound like he wants to show you that no one can fuck with him. Because he used to do that. On songs on If You Really Miss like Energy or 6 p.m. in New York, where like he's rapping with passion. And then now you compare that to a song with like You With Me, it doesn't sound like he's trying too hard. Maybe because he's felt like he's gotten comfortable and doesn't really need to. That's his own decision. but it's like a rare spark, like a rare moment of like rare flashes where he's okay. I can limit to like okay, yeah, maybe here someone inspired this song or something inspired this song, and an example I can give of that is more recently is this song 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, where he's going at Kanye for what he's been like the whole debacle with him and Kanye. He sounded like he sounded annoyed, you know. Right
So
here
how
is
does
like,
how does this relate to you? Because I want the audience to get in touch with Phil, right? So like first time what was the first time I think I listened to you outside the cipher was the Masters of the Universe, John, that you did with Holster. Give a shout out to the Holster if you end up checking this out.
Cypher?
Huh?
Wasn't it the Summer Cypher?
No, I'm saying the first time after the cipher was the Masters of the Universe. That was the first record. Because the Zamrock cipher is still a cipher, you know what I mean? The first record that I heard you on was probably that. Would you consider that to be something that you would consider timeless or something that you still had that hunger for? Like I'm asking, like, are you exemplifying the same standards that you're holding your legends to?
Yeah, I like to believe so. You know, I like to believe so.
So if I'm watching this right now, here's a good question for you.
Mhm.
I want you to direct the audience, right? So if I want to hear Phil Mweemba at his most hungriest, at where I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get the most focused, locked in, really like showing us what he can do. What track should they go listen to immediately after this interview to get that from you?
They would have to listen to Zero,
Zero. Okay.
the one you reacted to. They would listen to that because they would get like me hitting different pockets, but then also on the track where I'm most comfortable. Because personally, like I'm the most comfortable on boom bap beats.
I would say it was
When
a
I'm not
different style for you too that I heard on that. It was different than what I had heard from you up until that point. So you're saying that's actually home for you? That's where you felt like you was,
you
huh?
know, because that's my default, you know.
Okay. Okay.
It's what you know, like growing up in the 2000s when I was like listening to 50 Cent, Eminem, to Big Pun, to Big L, to Notorious B.I.G., you know. So that like and memorizing their songs would make like because that's how I learned how to rap, memorizing their songs
Right.
and also breaking down their songs and like how they were rhyming, you know, and then try to recreate that, you know. So and I found that more and also like that period of time, boom bap like was a more typical sound that was really out there in the hip hop sphere, you
Right.
know. But they had like the Atlanta crunk sound, but like prevalently it was more boom bap. But then it shifted over the years, and I guess I had to adapt, you know, because I was growing up. That's how you find me on more trap ish beats, like you know,
Right.
like on Masters. But the Masters of the Universe was it's like a good blend of like boom bap and trap.
Yeah, I would agree. There's definitely a marriage of sounds there. Um,
Exactly.
okay,
But
so
yeah,
so how does this this is dope. I like this conversation. This is a good conversation then. So now you're looking at your style, right? You're looking at the way that you've developed up until this point. When you first got into hip hop then, was it strictly artists from the States or when, if at all, did Zambian hip hop artists start to enter the sphere of people that you were also looking up to or you were also listening to in the same regards that you were listening to the 50 Cents, the Eminems and stuff like that? Or did it ever happen?
I think it was when I moved back to Zambia. That was like 2016. You know, that was when I moved back to Zambia because I was by that point I was already aware of like the whole stars, the young verbals, you know, like Holstars like Holstar and his group that he used to manage. That was what I was more, you know, used to. And then now fast forward, I'm friends with some of them. I'm friends with Holstar and Young Virgo. But yeah, I digress.
Shout out to Young Verbal. Shout out to the holster. Too dope. Look, yo, that the Young Verbal John. The John he just dropped with C3 was fire, dog. You heard that, Joe? That's Joe. That was nice. That was nice, nice.
Like with rock beats on the rock beats is insane. Like he is insane. I feel like personally, I feel like his Zambia is just Blaze. That's just me personally.
So
I feel like
I got nothing better to say about rugby. I think I'm on record saying that he's become a household name this side after doing the whole project with him and Critic did the Midnight Marauders and stuff like that. And then I started seeing his name pop up on everything. Now it's like yellow car syndrome. Now everywhere I look, I'm seeing rock beats here, rock beats there.
that's one because I have like my producer friends like Uncle Tiki, the genius behind the Masters of the Universe beat, the master of the Universe beat, like him him and Rock Beats are producers that I want to be like the way No ID and Just Blaze were in the 2000s, like they're all producing for freaking Alicia Keys, you know,
Right.
like the one that's produced for rappers. That's where I want them to be at. I want them to like, oh, produced by Uncle Tiki, produced by Uncle Tiki, produced by Uncle Tiki, produced by Rock Beats, produced by Rock Beats. You know, that's what I want for them. You know, it's the same thing with Killer. You know, like I like and like Killer and Critic. You know, I like seeing featuring Critic, featuring Killer, featuring, you know, like I like seeing that. Like there's a lot of ego in music. You know, like people feel like, nah, I don't want that. I want them to do good, but not better than me. For me, it's not that. Like I want to see these people succeed. You know, like
What so what elements, what do you think? So you're talking, that's an interesting topic. To be like, oh, I like seeing all the features. I like seeing Critic on everything. You know, I mean, I like seeing Killer on everything. What do you think are the elements that need two artists have to have for them to have good collaborative energy?
I feel like they would have to like complement each other.
In what ways though?
Like
Like specifically.
in terms of like
In terms of, I'm
uh
sorry, in terms of like you, let's just be as specific as we can. When you're looking for a collaboration, right? What are elements that you think complement your style really well that you look for in another artist to collab with? That's a good question.
well for me because maybe because I'm a versatile. I would consider myself versatile, you know, because I can adapt. I have like really good adaptability. Because there's this friend of mine. Her name is Hannah Peterson that I really want to do a song with, and she's a straightforward R&B singer. She's like I like to think of her as like my generation's Alicia Keys, you know. And I
Shout
would
out to
like
her. That's a hell of a compliment.
yeah. I mean like she's not she's crazy, you know. And I haven't done a lot of songs with a lot of female artists, just like maybe two, Natasha
Okay.
Meleki and my other friend Sonar Solis, she's from over there in the States. She's amazing. Yeah, so I'm trying to like get comfortable and not being like a more, you know, hard nosed flows type of guy, but like working with like people who you may not think I would work with, but then when you hear me in the song, like, oh, that was a really good song, you know. But then to answer your question, um, like I like to complement my style would be maybe uh like like the way you would expect me to rap, like stacking syllables. Maybe even having a singer stack her syllables to or their syllables. You know, like because you know I'm someone who likes to rhyme everything in
So,
succession.
so the way that you're talking, let me see if I can rephrase that to make sure I understand. So, like, I feel like when you talk about collaboration, so you talk about compliments, it's probably one or two things. Most people would say, I want somebody that is good at the things I'm not good at to fill in the spaces. You're saying
Yeah.
you prefer somebody that is good at the things you're good at, so that you can guys can excel at it even further. You're saying
In
like I
terms
want her to be able to do those things.
like yeah, but more in terms of rapping, you know, not like singing, because
Okay.
I could lie and say I can sing I can sing perfectly on my songs. I can sing perfectly on my songs. If I can't hear someone, I'm gonna someone else do that. If I can, I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah. So like but to what you're saying, it's more of like the rap side of things. If you can keep up with my energy, then perfect. You know, if you like whether it's high energy or low energy, if you can keep up with me, then perfect. You know.
Who have you ever struggled to keep up with another artist you collabed with?
No, actually, because like I have like to my own surprise, I have like really good at adaptability because there's this track that I'm doing. It's like on a drill beat, and I'm never rapped on a drill beat. It's just a feature. I'm never rapped on a drill beat, but something that I want to try, and I feel like it's gonna go hard on that track, so I have to like bring my own energy on that track, and it's gonna be. I'm hoping to matching, because
Okay.
it's
Who
like it like
who can we expect to all right, here's how I want to ask this. What collaborations are you looking to make? Right? Like what realistic collaboration we're like, man, I want to reach out. I really want to work with this person, right? But then the second part of that is what's gonna be the collaboration that you're looking for that's gonna push you? That you're gonna have to sweat it out a bit. What's gonna make us have to like see that next level Phil Wembo on a fucking track the second that you get this feature? Who was that person or persons or whatever?
well to keep it like in Zambia, yeah,
Sure.
it would be Critic.
Okay, I agree.
It would be it would also be Host. I know me and him have already done 2 songs. We already have we have like another one on the way, but
Exclusive. You just let that slip. Okay, what's that called? Hold up, we got we got some exclusive info here. What's the name of the track?
I can say you'd find out.
God damn
That's
it!
what
I should have said that. I should have just asked without the dramatics.
someone like Critic, yes, Critic, Killer, yes, Killer, Critic, Killer, who else? Like right off the top, I would say, um, Bar Smith, Destro, yeah, and Jazzy Jazz.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got a nice lineup there. We got a nice lineup. What'd you say?
Are you aware of Destro?
Yeah, well, he was just on the cipher. So
Yeah.
like, obviously I reacted to him while he was on the cipher, and then huge shout out to Destro. I was already following him, and I was like looking for his handle. I was asking people for it, and they gave it to me. And I clicked it, and it was already somebody that I was fucking with already. So like, my bad about that. Like, it's hard to keep track. Like, I do so many different countries, and I'm all over the place all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah. So he was somebody that I was already following. So like, fucking obviously he's good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's crazy, and I feel like, I kind of feel like a lot of English speaking rappers in Zambia were like kind of like looked down upon. I don't know. I still feel that way, you know, because I guess maybe if you rap in a more like you rap in vernacular, you reach a wider audience, you know, or they think that us English speaking rappers have like this air of superiority. That's not the case. We're just used to rapping English, you know. Like it's like people like making these assumptions. It's like how over here in Africa, like the older generation, they kind of like they don't like it when us younger generation know how to speak English because they think we think that we're better than them because we know how to
Because
speak
of
English.
it. Gotcha. So I
Yeah.
think this is not my first time. It's not my first time hearing this. This was my first experience with this. Is it's a very very revisited topic of conversation in South Africa,
Mhm.
between the English speaking rappers and those who speak in Vernac and SA, tend to bump heads a lot. There's a lot of conversation about what is considered authentic South African hip hop versus what is considering wanting to sound American. Like they take it there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a so it's not just in Zambia. I do think that that's a reoccurring theme that I've seen.
I'm sure even in other countries,
Yeah.
it's always like people who rap in English are trying to sound American or whatever. But then also like I'm not like when I rap, I don't notice my accent rapping. I hardly notice. I just rap the way I've always known how to rap. Maybe because of my influences, because it's like
Right.
even someone I looked up to like while I was living in Nigeria was MI. I looked up to Emma like a lot, you know.
Shout out to Emma. That's my
Shout
guy.
out, shout out. And yeah, like people who like African rappers who most of the time rap in English, you know. Those are the ones I looked up to. Like
Do you
I
think you're better than someone who only raps in vernac?
no, because you might find that the person who like someone like Chef who raps in Bemba, he might be dropping double and hundreds, you know, like in but they're all in Bemba, you know. But I'm not gonna think I'm better than him, you know.
So where
I
do you
don't.
think that? Do you think it's just in their head that
It's
that kind of prejudice exists, or do you think that there are people out there who project I am better because I'm bilingual, and that's what they're responding to, or do you think that they make it all up in their head?
I feel like it's the fans, not necessarily the artists who have that in their heads
Okay, okay.
because like you can ask any other Zambian English speaking rapper that have they ever been told that would this make it would this how would this be in Zambia would they make would you make it in Zambia because you're rapping in English. I have been told that so many times, and it's like a backhanded like people. It's also like a compliment because they're also saying yeah, this may not make it in Zambia, but it can reach a wider audience because majority of the world speaks English, you know.
Got you.
So
Got you.
yeah,
How do
like
you how do
look
you
at
feel about it as like a as an artist?
Mhm.
Are you going to be more proud to pop in Zambia, or are you more proud to just pop anywhere as long as there's an audience that's listening? Does region not matter to you, or is there something that's especially valuable to you to pop in Zambia?
well, it's my country, but like, but I don't think it's it. I don't think it'll be too much, you know. Like, cause as long as I find an audience, like, cause like my music is like I would say it's all over the place. So if I'm able to find like a good audience that like sticks with me, that to me that's a W, you know.
Okay.
Because like look at Sampa the Great for example. She raps in English most of she raps in English, you know. But she's one of the few Zambian rappers who's actually like blown up, you know, who's actually like made it out.
Right.
And like it kind of like brings back to what people say about like, will this work in Zambia? You know, because it's like as condescending as it is, it's like I said, it's also like saying like, hey, your music may not pop here, but it will pop outside of Zambia. And look at Sampa the Great.
Yeah,
You
she's
know,
like, you're right. Yeah, you was right.
exactly. Like, and I can bet you that's how her art that's her attitude towards people who told her that. Like, yeah, you're right, man. Because what my song was on the Black Panther my song was on the Black Panther soundtrack. My song was in FIFA 20, FIFA 23, FIFA 20, FIFA 22. All
Right.
because you told me and what did you tell me? My song would this be popular in Zambia? I mean, like, I mean, she's fine. And you know, I've noticed something about Zambian music consumers is that when they some like I'm seeing it happen for Killer right now. He's someone who raps mostly in English, and I also told him this is that a lot of Zambian artists who don't conform to the typical Zambian sound, once they get attention, like they get an overwhelming amount of attention, like outside. Oops, sorry. Once they get an overwhelming amount of attention outside of Zambia, I feel like that's when they'll start being accepted back in Zambia. You know, because I've seen that for Sample the Great, and I'm seeing that for Killer. Like it's like you know, because her being Australian based, you know, they didn't really like accept her sound in Zambia that all that well until the until the Black Panther trailer.
I think
And
this is a universal thing, my guy. I don't think that's Zambian. So like I tell people whenever you have any type of an entrepreneur avenue that you're looking, whether you're looking to start a business, whether you're looking to start a career, whether you're looking to start a hobby, don't expect the 15 people that are closest to you to be your biggest supporters. you'll
Yeah,
find that the
you're
people
right.
closest to you, dog, aren't necessarily the ones that are gonna be there for you.
I know, and you're right. Because I say that because like I'm in Zambia right now, and I'm someone who's trying to be like someone who sees, I'm friends with a lot of these artists. I know some of them personally. So like as someone who like seeing it like happen like in my own country, yeah, that's why I say like I've noticed that about Zambian consumers because I'm literally like in the midst of it. I like when you look to your left, look to your right, you see people talking and all that stuff being on social media and me noticing things. I don't like I didn't she wasn't really accepted. And even someone put out a tweet, I think it was a tweet or a Facebook post where they were like, haven't you noticed that in Zambian artists and Zambian artists will only be more accepted in Zambia if they make it internationally or if they get international success. And like that's very true because I'm seeing it happen, to some of the real killer.
How does
Not
that
just
make
me,
you
like,
feel?
hmm?
How does that make you feel?
Kind of makes me feel like, oh damn, like, so I have to be like accepted outside of my own country to be accepted in my own country, kind of makes me feel like kind of not very good actually. I wouldn't say it makes me feel good. Like you have to work so hard to be accepted outside of your own country to be accepted in your country. That's like that sucks. you know?
Do you do you perpetuate any of that? Do you find yourself more inclined to name drop Sampa the Great because she's been accepted internationally than to drop a local artist that has yet to do anything on an international level? Do you think that do you find yourself being part of the crowd with that?
For the crowd? No, because I've all like me, I don't if I can find an underground artist that no one's ever heard of and just stick to their music, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
It does like the amount of attention that they have doesn't affect how I relate, how I listen, how I consume their music. Because I can go on Fresh Finds. It's like this the Fresh Finds playlist on Spotify where like there's this basically independent artists that I've never heard of, and I
Right.
can like go shuffle and just be like, okay, I like this song, and I go to their page. They only have like what 20,000 monthly listeners. If I'm a fan of their music, I'm gonna be a fan of their music. If they blow up, I'm gonna feel good about that. If because like because you become part of their success.
Right.
That, that's how I feel. But
That's the first thing I said here. I said that's how I felt about finding your music. That's the first thing I said in this interview. I was like, I feel like I got in early. I feel like I'm one of the first. I'm the 20,000 listener mark. I got here and I'm like, dog, I can see where this is going. I'm glad that I got here when I got here. Um,
exactly.
the fact that you feel that way. So let me ask you this. This is my assessment of it, right?
Mhm.
And here's why I don't let it affect me. And
Yeah.
here's the analogy I use. So a lot of people will say, here's my album of the year. Or what's your album of the year? Here's my top 5 albums. And I've picked up the act of asking that person, how many albums did you listen to? This is your album of the year. Out of what albums? And people will shut up real quick. You will find if you will kill that conversation immediately if you make them list the albums that they've listened to when they want to start talking about what's their album of the year. And the reason is you'll find that that's probably one of only 2 albums that they've actually listened to front to back for that entire year. Most
Yeah.
people don't consume music the way that a reactor, an artist, the way people
Yeah.
involved in hip hop culture consume music. Therefore, I don't find it offensive when they wait for the international attention because it's not like they were listening anyway. You know what I mean? Like if you can't name 20 albums that you listened to that year, how much value does your top 5 really have? Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you got a joint and you're like, yo, you're the best chick I ever fucked, but that's the only chick you ever slept with, that's not as cool of a title as like if I'm a hoe and I slept with 100 chicks this year and I'm like, no, you the best. This is the best shit I ever felt. Like is you get what I'm saying? Like is I don't know. I think once you reveal the curtain behind the statistics, the statistics make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
So people ask me all the time, who's your top 5 in Africa? Who are your top 5 rappers in Africa? I got the same response. I'll let you know when I listen to them all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people like all they want to do is argue and put their own opinions and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about that. Anytime someone's like, oh, this is the best, I can be like, cool. So if I name you 5 artists that I think are dope from around the world, you're gonna know who they are and be able to judge it, right? No. Oh, is this the only artist you listen to? Is that why you think they're the best? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, dog, you gotta like frame the question correctly. Just tell me that you enjoy this person. Stop, you know what I mean? Like, stop with the whole best in the world. It's dumb. It's a dumb conversation.
That's
All right, I got a little bit offhand of my own opinions of that shit. What are you working on, Doug? What can we look forward to in the future? What's rolling out from Phil?
I'm actually like I've just been dropping singles of a project that I want to drop in February. It's like a follow up to my last one, and I want this to be more to be better in terms of sound and skill and who I have on the songs. You know, because me, I'm a very like when I'm picking people to when I'm choosing who to have on songs, I'm a very specific person. I'm a very like that's why like I don't want to be that artist who has like a million features on his project because he wants to have a hit. But because a lot of people do that, you know,
Right.
especially here, especially like when especially here in Zambia, I've noticed that. Not to shit on anyone who not to shit on the artists who do that. That's just not for me, you know, because I'm a very like I said, I'm a very specific person. Like if I have you on a song, it's for a good reason. It's because I know you're gonna bring something new, or you're gonna add to what I'm already bringing to the song, and you're gonna make it sound really good, you know. So yeah, like I would say maybe only 5 songs have features. The rest is just all me because like they're gonna bring something new to the song. Like there's this. I can let you on a little secret. I want to have like there's gonna be a posse cut, and I'm gonna tell you that's gonna be the nastiest beat you've ever heard from a Zambian artist because I made the beat myself, and I know exactly what and I know exactly.
This is gonna be the best shit you ever heard. Trust me. No, I know. I made it. It's gonna be the fucking. It's gonna be there. It'd be. Go ahead, Nacho. It's a credible source.
Gonna be the nastiest beat you've ever heard. And I kid you not, because like it's gonna be a posse track, you know, not like a cipher, but like a posse, you know,
Posse cut.
like how yeah, like how the whole like the one train song with ASAP Rocky, Kendrick, Joey Badass, Bronson, Brick Crit, and Yellow Wolf. That joint from like years ago, you know, not like cipher, but like a posse cut.
Okay.
Yeah, so but I can tell you that Hosta is going to be in the project. That's one thing I can tell you.
Okay. So this is coming out February. Does it have a name yet?
I want to like reveal that later.
You want to reveal that someplace more important than the GSGang channel? Okay, we see how you feel about us, Phil. All right.
It's not bad. It's just like I'm calculated in everything. Like my steps have there's thought into my steps, you know.
All right. How many singles are we going to expect to get from this album between now and February before it drops? Is that
I've
the
already
5?
dropped, I've already dropped 2, so 2 more.
2 more. Okay,
Okay.
cool. So 4 cuts. All right,
Yeah.
all right. We'll keep an eye out for that. Let me guys know if you guys when they drop, if y'all want to see reactions to these, or if you want to wait till the album drops. Make sure y'all let me know. Let me know any questions, anything you wanted to go over before I get you out of here. Phil, you have any questions for me or the GS Gang? Things we could elaborate on for you?
I want to say, like, you are one of the only American reactors that like has like a scope on the whole African scene, and I really fucking appreciate that. You know, because like there's this there's a line in one of my songs where I go I go something along the lines of who knew this African dude can rap good, something like that. It's an old song because like people get surprised when they hear me or Holstar and they be who's in Zambia, because my friends tell me that their friends don't like refuse that I'm Zambian when they hear me rap. They're like, he's Zambian? Yeah, he's Zambian. Nah, that's cap. He's not Zambian. Bro, he is Zambian. Like that's the reaction that they give me. You know, when they play their song, my friends to my songs to their friends.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like I like that you're showing your audience that there's talent on this continent. There's a lot of talent, and also because like hip hop has roots in African music. I don't know if you know that. It does have roots in African music. Like, and I'm someone who studied music theory back in high school, and I was surprised to know that. And my music teacher played me an African song, and then played me a hip hop song, and then compared the two, and I was like, yeah.
You can see the connection. I think for me, it's less about what I know and
Yeah.
more about what I discover. And
What
it's
I, what,
that it's the spark, it's the joy of hearing dude, like what I just do. The Dagger LSK. I just discovered Dagger on the channel for the Audacity, John. And like, dog, I if you'd asked me 5 years ago if I was gonna find some random cat in Zambia, like I couldn't point to that shit on a map. You know what I mean? And it's like we've gotten to this point now where like, dog, we're seeing how talented and how diverse the sounds are, and just like the skill levels around the world. It's a beautiful thing, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I appreciate that very much, man. It's found a very, very close place to my heart.
and honestly, I love it. You know, because I like when talent is being showcased one way or another. You know, because like
We just getting started, baby. We still small. We still growing.
I mean, like you discovered me, Holstar, like this year.
Yeah.
The whole Zambian hip hop scene. And what I can tell you is, there are a lot of skilled rappers in Zambia. There are a handful of us. You know, we may, but you may not like know what they're saying because of language barrier. Like someone like Chef 187, and maybe Holstar has mentioned a few. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like
I think
yeah, but
I'm very lucky that the GSGang has no problem translating stuff for us. Like if you go through the comment sections of any of my international music, there are always that one or two or 10 or 20 fans who go out of their way and explain the colloquialisms to us, that explains the,
yeah,
all the language barrier stuff. And it's like, it makes it so much doper because it becomes less about my reaction and more about the education from the comments and more about the elaboration and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
yeah. Because like as they always say, knowledge is power. You know,
Hey, let's me
you may
get the
not like.
bars. I'm selfish. I want to get the bars. Let's me enjoy the music more.
And I believe, you know, if someone like Chef 187, even though he doesn't rap in English, he raps in Bemba. If you translate, he has bars. Like he has bars.
Shout out to Chef
That's
187. I think as far as the Zambia interviews go, I'm working on I want to get a very, very detailed and in-depth one with Chisenga. As I continue to familiarize myself with his music, he reached out to me and I was like, let's do this the right way. Let me familiarize myself because like obviously like Holster, bigged him up as one of the godfathers, you know what I mean, of hip hop in Zambia and stuff like that. So like of English speaking, you know what I mean, hip hop in Zambia.
gotta say, shout out to Holster. Like big shout out to Holster. You know,
Absolutely.
because like he's the one who actually put me on. And one thing I love about Holster is not a lot of older Zambian artists do this, or even like like not my generation, not like no one in my generation, like the people that we look up to, you know.
Right.
A lot of them don't really have their ear to the ground like the way Holster does. Holster has his ear to the ground. He has his ear to
Dude,
the underground.
there's very
He
few people alive that have their ear to the streets the way fucking Holster does, though.
ear is always on the ground. And I mean, sorry, I mean that literally. Sorry about that. I mean that literally. Like his ear is always on the ground. And even I would put him onto someone like some of my friends, who like look up to him, and he'd be like, oh, let me check him out. He's always open minded. Whereas a lot of like other Zambian artists, they don't really like look at us like that. Especially like, and even shout out to Chanda and Bao too. Him and Poster are two people who I think are the ones who put on my generation, you know, because
Cool.
Chanda Mba whole playlist dedicated to my generation, you know.
That's dope.
Well, it's called the New Wave playlist, the Zambian New Wave, yeah, on Spotify. Like
That's
if yeah,
fire.
yeah, like those two, yeah, I they deserve their flowers, I believe, because they believe we're the ones who are gonna carry, you know, who are gonna carry Zambian music to like where it needs to be, like to the world stage, basically, you know,
Yeah,
because we're bringing in.
I believe it. I believe I'm with them, dog. I think you know, they're just artists just are getting better, right? I'm a
Yeah,
firm believer of like we look at our legends and we salute our legends. I take the hat off to the legends and everything like that. But you would
yeah,
be remiss not to think that the average lyricist in 2022 compared to the average lyricist, you know, 10, 20, 30 years ago, you know what I mean? The further back you go, the talent level is just overall rising as the interest in hip hop grows, as the influence of hip hop grows and shit, you know. So yeah, I definitely think that you're missing the mark if you don't got your eye on the next generations, dog. You're missing the mark
exactly.
big time.
Like we're the ones who are basically who are gonna like it's like a relay race, you know. They're gonna like as the race goes, they're gonna pass us the torch, and we have to like take it and run, you know. It's us. It's us that are gonna do that. And with the help of with people Polestar and Chanda Mbao creating all these playlists for like my generation, that does a lot more good than they
Thanks.
actually like, you know, because we're the ones bringing new sounds. We're bringing new alternative sounds. A lot of us aren't really conforming to what you would expect from a Zambian song. You'd hear a boom. You would hear like the hardest boom bap beats, like the most illest flows, and you'd be surprised to hear that from a Zambian artist. You'd hear the most Janae Aiko, Summer Walker song, like most R&B song, and you hear that from a Zambian artist, and you'd be surprised. Like, this is from a Zambian artist. Like my friend Uchi, like Hannah Peterson, like Natasha Maleki. Those are female artists that I know personally, and like they make fantastic R&B music. That you'd be surprised to hear like from their Zambians. Like the same reaction that you get like when you listen to me or someone like Killer or Hosta. You're like, oh, there's Zambian. No, that's crazy, you know. But on their side, like more R&B side, those I pick them because I like to think I like to see them as my generation. Summer Walker, Echoes, yeah, you know, all that all that jazz. But
I
yeah,
got you, Doug.
bro,
I
I
love
be
to see how you spread the love around too. Huge shout out to everybody you just name drop.
really shout out to my contemporaries, like you know, because like I said, I also want to see them succeed, you know,
Right. Facts.
especially the R&B singers that of my generation, like the Tahila Jays, you know, the Mukukas, the Anushkas, the Hannah Petersons, the Natasha Melekis. I want to see them succeed. I really do because I believe that the sound that they're bringing is what's needed, especially in the Zambian R&B scene. You know, to put it like that. But yeah, because I know what hip hop heads, you know, but that's just like
I love I love good music. I love seeing talented people make beautiful shit. Like that's what it comes down to, you know. So like if something's dope, it's dope, and like music is definitely an international language itself. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Cool.
and
Look, I'm gonna get
other
you out of here, my guy. Look, it's getting late. You guys, we have the project coming in February. We
yeah.
also have a lot of cuts that are coming out between me, you, and Andy. Men's, make sure you guys check out for that shit. We have a lot of behind the scenes stuff that should be coming out. Anything else you want to shout out, my guy?
Shout out to everyone. Shout out to my contemporaries and the other new wave artists that like I mentioned. Like I would even like to mention Uncle Tiki, Tito, Sloth, AB and ETA, like all my contemporaries and every new wave artist that's out there right now. Because it's up to us, you know, that are like carrying the torch and carrying the flag, carrying the Zambian flag. It's on us, you know. And shout out
I'm
to
with it,
Holstar,
dog.
shout out to Critic, everyone you've interviewed. Shout out to you, you know. Shout out to Andy,
Hey,
you know. Shout out to everyone, man.
That's dope, man. I look forward to continuing to dig into the Zambian hip hop scene. Hopefully, a lot of those contemporaries that you're talking about, we do end up touching base with, so that we can help promote the shit too. You know what I mean? So, hopefully, we do our part as the GS Gang. I just want to thank you for taking the time today. We have a lot of shit that's coming out.
Like, I love conversation. Let's do this again.
It won't be the last time. It won't be the last time that they hear from us, Doug. I want to do. We got to get one post album after we review it, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go in depth with that because there's a lot to unpack.
I'm looking forward to it, Doug. All right, look. As always, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will catch y'all on the next one. Let's go. That was dope.